The current budget that's being proposed, obviously you've drawn that up, the budget director. Your budget directors put this together for the town board to
We're in the process of doing it right
and
now.
I hope to come to one of the next workshops. I'm going to ask you, because you weren't able to support the budget that you had drawn up last year, will you make a pledge tonight to actually vote for the budget that you proposed this year?
We do not have solid figures at this time, so for me to make any type of a statement to that effect would be a correct thing to do.
If you, as the budget, you're chief fiscal officer of the town, of your suburban town, you've hired somebody to put together a budget, which I understand.
That's true.
That's the process. Once that's done, this board has an opportunity to sit down as a group and review it, whatever the numbers come out. If there is a tax increase involved, it will be your budget primarily. Will you support your budget this year?
I believe if there's a tax increase that's warranted, probably, but we still have to look at different
I
figures that
understand.
we do not have yet.
I understand.
We're still working with our numbers. I can't tell you at this time there is going to be a tax increase, and I can't tell you that there isn't.
Well,
Because we just talked to a fire department just today.
I'm sure the fire department will come in with some numbers that you'll have to adjust, which you usually do.
Without a doubt.
But I think what we're looking at is, last year, I think you were, I grilled you on it right after the decision was made, Supervisor. I think it was incumbent on you then to go back with your colleagues that had worked on this, and they put themselves in a position to have to approve a tax increase, and you and Councilor Coral were able to take a bite on it. And I think the consensus should be, if this is a group decision, that everyone makes the same decision. If they're not happy with it, they come out after it's reviewed. I can't support this. I didn't support it in the kitchen. I'm not going to support it out here.
Yeah, but
That wasn't done last year. This was basically, it looked like a consensus of 5 people, and when it came to the vote, 2 people said no.
But there are different situations we do not agree all the time. It comes up on numerous occasions, doesn't make a difference if we're buying a truck for Chris or whatever we're doing. We do not agree on everything all the time. You know, if you look back in the minutes, it happens a lot.
Well, it happens occasionally, but I think it left some people wondering what happened here last year, because I think there had been a consensus that this budget was going to be approved. I don't see anybody telling me no. And then 2 people decided not to support it, and they didn't share that information with their colleagues and left them in the dark on it. So I also want to mention, if I may, I took the time to take some numbers from last year's budget, and we decided to spend an additional $130,000 over the second place bidder to have the town reassessed. So going back and looking at the general fund portion for 2009, that $130,000 could have paid the salaries in the town clerk's office, $73,000, as well as our contractual engineering fees of $70,000. It could have also paid for the NAPAC services, which are $26,000, as well as all the town's economic development, which is $100,000. It could have also funded the entire $100,000 for the town's senior programs, and also the salaries of the lifeguards at Wilson Park, and $30,000, and also the Learn to Swim program. It could have also funded all your New York State retirement, $100,000, as well as 90% of this year's workman's compensation, which is around $40,000. And finally, it could have covered the entire fuel cost for snow removal for the highway department, $75,000, as well as the summer highway operations of $60,000. So that's a lot of funds that budget could have actually used that money instead of spending it on the additional cost of our associates.
Unfortunately, if you were at those interviews, and I don't know if you were there or not, one of the comments that the second company, we'll call, there was 3 different people.
Right.
There was a low bidder, there was a middle bidder, and there was a guard.
Right.
One of the reasons why I didn't pick the second bidder is because this is exactly what they said. I can have people here to back me up. The brother of the owner is the one who usually took care of a lot of the people. and the comment was made, if somebody comes in, you know, can you take care of them, can you talk to them? Sure, no big deal. But then they went back to the owner, and he says, well, if they won't deal with me, I'm just gonna tell them to get the hell out. And that was a quote. That was the exact wording from the person that sat in front of us.
To this board?
To me, when I was sitting on the interview committee.
Well, I guess.
And that's part of the reason why I did not want to deal with this, because if he was gonna tell me that, what was he gonna tell you? Or somebody else? That was my biggest concern. If he didn't care what he told me, he could be telling people out in the public anything, and I'd never know.
And what,
You can't have
Right.
somebody under contract
You
doing
can't
it.
do that.
However, once somebody signs a contract, if they don't abide by the agreement, you can let them off, you can let them
Yeah,
take
but
it
the
out.
damage was done by then. He's out there abusing and misusing people, and I didn't
He
know.
never had an opportunity to do that, Supervisor, but, and not to slight Gar Associates, but they're involved in a multi-million-dollar lawsuit on one of the last jobs they did. And if you guys didn't know that, maybe you needed to know that before you hired them.
All I can tell you is they're professional appraisers. I have yet to get any bad feedback, because we've checked with a lot of people, and everybody said they've been treated very, very well and very courteous.
I'm sure they are. Thank you.
Tom, one of the other associates that were interviewed, not only one was unprofessional, the other one, as you probably know, if you did the research, had outstanding litigation in the town of Vestal, in which there was a multitude of issues with that organization, so.
Was this the second bidder?
Yeah, so, yes, and so when you're looking at these bidders, you have to take into consideration their professionalism, their track record. It's not just who's the lower bidder. You know, you gotta consider that what's probably the most important asset in most people's lives.
Well, the community relations you're gonna have when you hire someone.
Well, value is their house, right?
Well, sure.
So if you're dealing with people's homes, probably the most important thing in their life, monetarily wise, we have to make sure that we're going to prepare and present to them somebody that's going to be professional and be able to communicate with them and do the best job to do this project we're working on throughout the town. So does it cost a little more per parcel? I think it was a couple of bucks.
What was the difference?
$10 per parcel, so that's what we had to do.
You voted against a tax increase of less than that last year.
That was not the question. But I think we were talking about the reassessment project. But it was $10 per parcel we were looking at, so those are the things you have to consider.
Well, if I don't interface with them, can I get my $10 refund back? I don't know if I'll be talking to them, and I think if I don't get the 5-star service, I don't have to pay for it.